If you've been questioning your purpose, you're asking the right question. Because only the lost begin the path of mastery. Miyamoto Musashi didn't wait for permission to become legendary. He forged his strength through solitude, discipline, and endless practice. This video found you because you're ready to let go of weakness, ready to stop reacting, ready to live by principle, not pressure. I'll show you how to develop unshakable mental clarity, the kind that doesn't flinch, the kind that wins. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind and tell us, where are you watching from? Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you contradicts everything you've been taught about strength. You've been searching in the wrong direction. All your life you've been told to look outward for validation, for answers, for power. But the true warrior knows better. The true warrior understands that mastery begins in the depths of solitude, in the quiet chambers of your own mind. I spent my life studying the way of the sword, but my greatest battles were fought in silence against myself. This is the first principle you must understand. External victories are merely reflections of internal conquests. When you master your inner world, the outer world bends to your will naturally, effortlessly, like water flowing downstream. But most of you are doing it backward. You're trying to control circumstances before you've learned to control yourself. You chase success, recognition, wealth, believing these external markers will somehow fill the void within. They won't, they never have, and they never will. The path of the warrior begins with a simple truth. You are your own greatest obstacle and your own ultimate salvation. Every morning when you wake, you face your first and most crucial battle. Will you rise with purpose, or will you rise with excuses? Will you command your day, or will you let your day command you? This isn't about motivation. Motivation is a fickle friend that abandons you when you need it most. This is about forging an unbreakable will, a mind so disciplined that it functions with perfect clarity regardless of circumstances, like a sword that cuts true regardless of the wind. You must understand, strength isn't something you acquire, it's something you uncover. It's already within you, buried under layers of doubt, fear, and social conditioning. Your task is not to build strength, but to strip away everything that isn't strength, to remove every weakness, every hesitation, every trace of self-doubt, until what remains is pure, focused power. Most will never grasp this truth. They'll continue looking outward, measuring themselves against others, seeking approval, chasing shadows. But you who have found this message, you're different. You're ready to turn inward, to face yourself with unflinching honesty, to begin the real work of mastery. The path I'm showing you isn't easy. It demands everything you have, and then it demands more. But it's the only path that leads to true power, true peace, true mastery. Everything else is just noise, distraction, illusion. Remember, the warrior who conquers himself is mightier than the warrior who conquers 1,000 enemies. Your battleground is within. Your weapons are silence, discipline, and unwavering focus. Your victory will be measured not in applause or accolades, but in the quiet certainty that you have become unstoppable. This is where it begins, not with grand gestures or bold declarations, but with the simple, powerful decision to take absolute command of your inner world. Everything else flows from this single point. Here's what separates the warrior from the wanderer. The warrior knows the power of stillness. You've been taught that success means constant motion, endless pursuit, perpetual striving. But I tell you this, true power lies in becoming unmovable. Think of the mountain. Does it chase the clouds? Does it strain to prove its height? No, the mountain simply is. Its power lies in its immovability, its absolute presence. This is the stance you must learn, to be so grounded in your own power that nothing can shake you. I've watched thousands of warriors fall because they were too eager to advance, too desperate to prove themselves. In their haste to achieve, they revealed their weakness. Their very urgency became their undoing. But the truly powerful, they don't chase. They attract. They don't pursue. They draw in. When you chase validation, you give away your power. When you chase opportunity, you reveal your desperation. When you chase approval, you surrender your authority. Every time you chase, you position yourself as inferior to that which you pursue. This is the fundamental error that keeps you weak. Instead, cultivate the power of stillness. Learn to stand your ground with such unwavering presence that the world begins to turn around you. This isn't passive waiting. It's active power held in perfect control, like a sword at rest, containing all its lethal potential without needing to display it. But most of you can't stand still. You're constantly shifting, adjusting, reacting to every wind that blows. You mistake motion for progress, activity for achievement. You don't realize that all this movement is actually weakness expressing itself, the desperate dance of an uncertain mind. True power moves only when movement serves a purpose. It doesn't fidget. It doesn't second-guess. It doesn't need to prove itself. Like a master swordsman who makes one cut where others make 10, your power must become economical, precise, purposeful. This principle extends beyond physical movement. It applies to your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions. Stop chasing better feelings. Stop pursuing constant stimulation. Stop seeking endless options. Learn to be complete in your stillness. The world respects what remains unmoved. Think about this deeply. When you're constantly chasing, adjusting, appeasing, you train others to see you as something movable, something that can be pushed, something that needs external validation to exist. But when you stand firm in your principles, in your purpose, in your power, you become like the mountain, immovable, unshakable, present. This is true strength, not the strength of constant action, but the strength of perfect position, perfect presence, perfect poise. Let others exhaust themselves with endless pursuit. You will learn the power of stillness. Let them chase shadows while you become substance. Let them scatter their energy while you gather yours. Remember, the ultimate power isn't in the chase. It's in becoming something worth pursuing. You think you know your enemies. You point to competitors, critics, circumstances, all those external forces that seem to stand between you and mastery. But I tell you this, you've never faced your true enemy, the one that watches you from the mirror, the one that whispers doubt in your quietest moments, the one that knows exactly where to strike to bring you down. Your mind. This is your most dangerous opponent. More lethal than any sword, more destructive than any army. It knows your weaknesses because it created them. It understands your fears because it maintains them. It predicts your failures because it orchestrates them. I've watched countless warriors fall not to superior opponents, but to their own thoughts. The battle was lost in their minds long before it began in reality. They defeated themselves with doubt, with fear, with hesitation. Their minds became their executioners. Let me show you how this enemy operates. It starts with a whisper. You're not ready. You might fail. What will they think? These thoughts seem harmless, even protective, but they are poison. Slowly, paralyzing your power, gradually diminishing your strength. Your mind creates elaborate stories about why you can't succeed, why you shouldn't try, why you're not worthy. It presents these stories as wisdom, as prudence, as rational thinking. But they are chains, invisible but stronger than steel, holding you back from your true potential. This enemy never sleeps. It works tirelessly to maintain your limitations, to preserve your comfort zone, to keep you safely mediocre. It's the voice that calls for rest when you should train, for caution when you should strike, for retreat when you should advance. But here's what most don't understand. This enemy can become your greatest ally. Like a sword that can kill or protect, your mind can be transformed from adversary to advisor. The same power that creates doubt can create certainty. The same force that generates fear can generate courage. The key lies not in silencing your mind, this is impossible, but in mastering it, in learning to distinguish between thoughts that serve you and thoughts that sabotage you, in developing the ability to think with precision, with purpose, with power. Start by becoming aware. Watch how your mind tries to deceive you. Notice how it exaggerates threats, minimizes opportunities, creates false limitations. This awareness is your first weapon against this internal enemy. Then, challenge every thought that weakens you. When your mind says, impossible, demand evidence. When it whispers, not ready, question its criteria. When it urges retreat, examine its motives. Treat each destructive thought as an opponent to be defeated, each limiting belief as a barrier to be broken. Train your mind like you would train your body, with discipline, with consistency, with unwavering purpose. Force it to serve your goals rather than sabotage them. Make it a weapon for your advancement rather than a tool for your destruction. Remember, your mind will always generate thoughts, but you choose which ones to believe, which ones to act upon. This is where your power lies, not in preventing thoughts, but in selecting them. Not in avoiding mental battles, but in winning them. The warrior who masters their mind masters their destiny. Every external battle is first won or lost in the battlefield of thought. Every achievement, every failure, every victory, every defeat, all are first shaped in the forge of your mind. This is your most crucial fight. Win here, and all other victories become possible. Lose here, and no external advantage can save you. The enemy in your mind must be conquered before any other enemy can be faced. So face this enemy now. Challenge it, master it, transform it. Turn your greatest adversary into your most powerful ally. For when your mind fights for you rather than against you, you become truly unstoppable. There is a reason I chose to live in caves, to train in mountains, to seek wisdom in isolation. The world is loud, but truth speaks in whispers. You cannot hear these whispers when you're constantly surrounded by the noise of society, by the endless chatter of those who know nothing of true strength. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is weakness seeking company. Solitude is strength being forged. In isolation, you find your true voice, not the voice that speaks to impress others, not the voice that seeks approval, but the voice of pure, uncompromised truth. Most fear solitude because in silence they must face themselves. And there is nothing more terrifying to the untrained warrior than the mirror of their own soul. But this is precisely why you must seek it. The truths you discover in solitude become the foundation of unshakable strength. When you train alone, there is no one to impress, no one to compete with, no one to compare yourself to. There is only the pure pursuit of mastery. This is where real growth happens. In the quiet moments when no one is watching, when there are no witnesses to your struggle, when there is only you and the path before you. I learned more about swordsmanship in solitary practice than I ever did in combat, because in solitude, you can't rely on reaction. You must create. You can't depend on opportunity. You must innovate. You can't wait for guidance. You must discover. But society has taught you to fear being alone. It has conditioned you to constantly seek validation, entertainment, distraction. You fill every moment with noise, music, videos, social media, endless streams of empty information. You're afraid of what you might find in silence. Here's what you'll find: clarity. In solitude, the unnecessary falls away. The opinions of others fade. The need for approval dissolves. What remains is pure purpose, clear vision, true power. Think of a sword being forged. The metal must be isolated, heated, hammered, cooled. This process cannot happen in a crowd. The same is true for your spirit. To be forged into something unbreakable, you must withdraw from the world at times. This doesn't mean you must live as a hermit, but you must create periods of intense solitude, times when you deliberately disconnect from all external influences, when you train not for the approval of others, but for the pure purpose of mastery. During these times, you'll face your deepest fears, your strongest doubts, your darkest thoughts. Good. These are the real enemies you must defeat, not the opponents. in the outside world, but the demons in your own mind. In solitude, you'll also find your greatest insights, the strategies that others can't teach you because they haven't discovered them, the truths that can't be explained, only experienced, the power that comes not from external instruction, but from internal revelation. Learn to love these moments of solitude. They are not punishments to be endured, but opportunities to be embraced. Every great warrior throughout history has understood this. The battlefield may be where victory is displayed, but solitude is where victory is prepared. Make solitude your ally. Let it strip away your false beliefs, your limiting thoughts, your need for constant validation. Let it forge you into something beyond ordinary understanding. For it is in these quiet moments, these solitary hours, that legends are born. Remember, the crowd can give you nothing that solitude cannot give you better. The crowd offers distraction. Solitude offers focus. The crowd offers comfort. Solitude offers strength. The crowd offers opinions. Solitude offers truth. Choose solitude. Embrace it. Master it. For in learning to be alone, you learn to be unstoppable. Let me tell you about the most subtle poison, the deadliest weakness that cripples even the strongest warriors, the need for approval. This invisible chain has bound more potential than any physical restraint ever could. It's time to break it. You think you're free, but examine your actions closely. How many of your decisions are truly yours? How many are shaped by the imagined reactions of others? You choose your words carefully, adjust your behavior, modify your dreams, all to fit within the comfortable boundaries of other people's approval. This need for approval is not strength, it is slavery. Every time you seek validation before action, you surrender your power. Every time you hesitate because of potential judgment, you betray your own authority. Every time you dim your light to make others comfortable, you trade your greatness for acceptance. I've watched warriors with perfect technique, impeccable strategy, and years of training fall in battle because they couldn't bear the weight of disapproval. Their need to be liked became the gap in their armor, the fatal flaw that undid all their preparation. Understand this: the world's approval is a currency that buys nothing of real value. Those who praise you today will criticize you tomorrow. Those who support your safe choices will condemn your bold ones. Their approval is as changeable as the wind and just as substantive. But here's what makes this poison so deadly. It feels like wisdom. The voice that urges you to seek approval disguises itself as prudence, as social intelligence, as political savvy. It whispers, better to be liked than respected, better to fit in than stand out, better to be accepted than powerful. These are the thoughts of prey, not predators, of followers, not leaders, of those destined to live in the shadows of the truly great. To become unstoppable, you must first become impervious to the opinions of others, not through arrogance or ignorance, but through the deep understanding that no one's opinion of you is more important than your own unshakable self-knowledge. This doesn't mean you become cruel or inconsiderate. It means you stop using others' reactions as your compass. You stop seeking permission to be powerful. You stop waiting for approval to take action. Think of a sword. Does it ask permission to be sharp? Does it apologize for its edge? Does it seek approval for its purpose? No. It simply is what it is, unapologetically, completely, perfectly suited to its purpose. You must become like this sword. Your power, your purpose, your potential, these are not subject to committee approval. They are not up for debate. They are not waiting for validation. The truly powerful don't need to be liked. They need to be effective. They don't need to be approved of. They need to be respected. They don't need everyone's support. They need their own unwavering conviction. This is why I trained alone in the mountains, why I developed my techniques in solitude. Not because I feared disapproval, but because I understood that true innovation, true power, true mastery often lies beyond the boundaries of conventional approval. From this day forward, make this your practice. When you feel the urge to seek approval, recognize it as weakness. leaving your body. When you catch yourself adjusting your dreams to make others comfortable, stop immediately. When you find yourself hesitating because of potential criticism, take it as a signal to advance. Your power is not up for discussion. Your purpose is not subject to vote. Your potential is not waiting for permission. Let them approve. Let them disapprove. Let them praise. Let them criticize. None of it matters. What matters is your unwavering commitment to your path, your unflinching dedication to your purpose, your uncompromising pursuit of your potential. Remember, the need. For approval is the last chain you must break to be truly free. Break it now. Break it completely. Break it forever. For in the space where approval-seeking dies, true power is born. Pay attention now, because I'm about to reveal the first battlefield where most warriors fall, their own emotions. You've been taught that emotions are to be embraced, expressed, celebrated. But I tell you this, unchecked emotions are the assassins of power, the destroyers of potential, the saboteurs of mastery. Understand? I'm not telling you to become emotionless. This is impossible and unwise. Emotions are like the weather. They will come. But a warrior does not let the weather determine their actions. They do not let rain stop their training, nor let wind change their course. The same must be true of your emotions. The untrained mind is a slave to every feeling that passes through it. Anger rises, and they react. Fear appears, and they retreat. Excitement bubbles, and they lose focus. Every emotion becomes a command. They must obey. This is not freedom. This is the deepest form of imprisonment. I've seen warriors with decades of physical training crumble in crucial moments because they couldn't master their emotions. All their skill, all their preparation, all their potential rendered useless by a moment of unchecked fear, an instant of uncontrolled anger, a second of overwhelming doubt. You must learn to feel without being controlled by what you feel, to experience emotions without becoming their servant, to acknowledge their presence without accepting their authority over your actions. This is what separates the master from the amateur. The amateur is a leaf in the wind, blown about by every emotional gust. The master is the mountain, experiencing all seasons but moved by none. When anger comes, and it will come, you must learn to feel its heat without being consumed by its fire. When fear arrives, and it will arrive, you must learn to face its presence without following its guidance. When excitement erupts, and it will erupt, you must learn to contain its energy without losing your focus. But most of you do the opposite. You let emotions dictate your actions. You let temporary feelings override permanent principles. You let fleeting moods determine lasting decisions. This is the path of the perpetual beginner, never advancing, always ruled by the tyranny of immediate emotion. True power lies in emotional self-mastery, not in suppression, but in transcendence, not in denial, but in dominance. Like a skilled rider directing a powerful horse, you must learn to guide your emotions rather than be carried away by them. This mastery begins with awareness. Start noticing how emotions arise, how they attempt to hijack your behavior, how they try to override your judgment. Watch them like a sentinel watching the horizon, alert, aware, but not controlled by what appears. Then, practice the pause. Between emotion and action, insert space. Between feeling and response, create distance. In this space lies your power. In this distance lives your freedom. Make every emotion earn the right to influence your actions. Make every feeling prove its worth before you grant it power over your decisions. Treat each emotion as a suggestion, not a command. As information, not instruction. This is how you forge emotional steel. This is how you build unshakable strength, not by becoming cold, but by becoming conscious, not by eliminating emotions, but by elevating yourself above their control. Remember, emotions are like waves on the ocean of your mind. They will rise, they will fall, but you must become the depth beneath the waves, vast, unmoved, powerful, beyond measure. Let the surface be stirred while the depths remain calm. This is the way of the warrior. Not emotional suppression, but emotional supremacy. Not feeling less, but mastering what you feel. For when emotions become your servants rather than your masters, you become truly unstoppable. There's a moment that separates the master from the amateur, the warrior from the wanderer, the powerful from the weak. It's not a moment of action, it's a moment of restraint, the pause between provocation and response. This is where true power lives. Most of you are slaves to reaction. Someone speaks, you must respond. Someone acts, you must counter. Someone moves, you must move. Like puppets jerked by strings, you dance to every stimulus, respond to every trigger, react to every push. This is not the way of power. This is the way of weakness. I learned this truth through countless battles. The warrior who reacts is already defeated. Their opponent controls their movement, dictates their rhythm, owns their mind. But the warrior who pauses, who creates space between action and reaction, this warrior becomes unstoppable. Think of the oak tree in a storm. The weak branches that react to every gust are the ones that break. The strong branches that bend, absorb, and choose their movement, these survive and grow stronger. This is your model. Not rigid, not reactive, but responsively powerful. When someone insults you, your immediate reaction is to defend or counterattack. Pause. When someone challenges you, your instinct is to prove yourself immediately. Pause. When someone pushes you, your reflex is to push back instantly. Pause. In these moments of pause lies your true power. This pause is not weakness. It is not hesitation. It is the gathering of power. Like a sword being drawn back before a strike, like a wave receding before it crashes, like a tiger crouching before it leaps, the pause is part of power, but most of you cannot tolerate this pause. You feel that every action demands an immediate reaction. Every word requires an instant response. Every challenge needs an immediate answer. This compulsion to react is your weakness. It makes you predictable, manipulatable, controllable. The truly powerful can sit in the fire of provocation without being burned by reaction. They can stand in the storm of chaos without being swept away by impulse. They can face the charge of challenge without being rushed into premature action. This power of non-reaction must be cultivated. Start with small things. When your phone demands attention, pause. When social media calls for response, pause. When someone provokes your emotions, pause. Each pause is a rep in the gymnasium of self-mastery. In these pauses, you'll find clarity. You'll see opportunities others miss. You'll conserve energy others waste. You'll maintain position while others are knocked off balance. You'll choose your moments while others are chosen by circumstances. The world is full of reactive people, rushing to respond, desperate to reply, eager to prove themselves. But you're learning a higher way. The way of chosen response rather than compelled reaction. The way of strategic patience rather than tactical impulsiveness. This is not about becoming passive. This is about becoming precisely powerful. Like a master swordsman who waits for the perfect moment to strike, your stillness is full of potential energy. Your pause is pregnant with power. Remember, every time you resist the urge to react immediately, you grow stronger. Every time you create space between trigger and response, you become more powerful. Every time you pause before acting, you demonstrate mastery. The world will test this power. It will try to force you into reaction, push you into premature response, goad you into impulsive action. Stand firm, hold your center, master the pause. For in that space between action and reaction, between stimulus and response, between provocation and consequence, that's where you'll find your true power. That's where you'll discover your unshakable strength. That's where you'll become truly unstoppable. The fool thinks the future is predictable. The amateur prepares only for what they can foresee. But the warrior, the true master, prepares for chaos itself. This is what I learned in countless battles. It's not the expected that defeats you. It's what you never saw coming. Here's the truth that most refuse to accept. Chaos is the natural state of existence. Order is temporary. Predictability is an illusion. The only certainty is uncertainty. Once you truly understand this, you can begin to build real strength. I've watched warriors with perfect techniques fall because the ground was uneven. I've seen strategies fail because the wind changed direction. I've witnessed victory slip away because of a single, unexpected moment. These warriors weren't defeated by their opponents. They were defeated by their own rigid expectations. The world will not adapt to your plans. It will not conform to your expectations. It will not arrange itself for your convenience. This is not a flaw in the world. This is its nature. And in this chaos lies your opportunity for true mastery. Most people's preparation is nothing but elaborate wishful thinking. They prepare for the fight they want, not the fight that will come. They train for the challenges they can imagine, not the ones that will actually test them. This is why they break when reality refuses to follow their script. True preparation isn't about predicting every possibility. This is impossible. It's about developing the capacity to handle any possibility. It's not about having a plan for everything. It's about becoming someone who can plan for anything. Start with your mind. Make it fluid, adaptable, responsive, like water that takes the shape of any container. Your mind must learn to adapt to any situation. This doesn't mean being without form. It means being able to change form as circumstances demand. Then, train your body and skills the same way. Don't just practice techniques. Practice adaptation. Don't just learn responses. Learn responsiveness. Don't just memorize solutions. Develop the ability to create solutions in the moment. The unexpected will always carry more power than the expected. Why? Because the expected encounters your preparation, but the unexpected encounters your character. This is why true training must go deeper than techniques and tactics. It must forge your very nature. Most of you train for strength, but chaos demands flexibility. You train for speed, but chaos demands adaptability. You train for skill, but chaos demands creativity. These qualities cannot be developed through rigid, predictable training alone. This is why my training methods often seemed strange to others. I would practice in the rain, in the dark, on uneven ground. I would deliberately create chaos in my training, introduce random elements, force myself to adapt. Because I knew comfort is the enemy of preparation, the warrior's greatest weapon. Against the unexpected is not prediction, it's presence. The ability to be fully here, fully aware, fully engaged in the reality of the moment. From this presence comes the power to respond to whatever arises. Remember, the unexpected is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Every surprise is a lesson. Every chaos is an opportunity. Every unexpected challenge is a chance to demonstrate your mastery. So, prepare. Yes. Train, certainly. Plan, of course. But do not become attached to your preparations, your training, or your plans. They are tools, not crutches. The true source of your strength must be deeper than any plan, more fundamental than any technique. For when the unexpected arrives, and it will arrive, your victory will not come from what you planned. It will come from who you have become. Listen carefully, because this lesson separates those who achieve mastery from those who remain forever frustrated. You must learn to let go of what you cannot control. This isn't weakness. It's the foundation of true power. Most of you live in constant battle with reality. You fight against time, against circumstances, against the decisions of others, against the nature of existence itself. You exhaust yourself trying to control what cannot be controlled. This is not the way of the warrior. This is the way of the fool. I've watched countless fighters defeat themselves before the battle even began, not because of their opponent's strength, but because of their own attachment to how things should be. The weather wasn't right. The terrain wasn't perfect. The timing wasn't ideal. They were already beaten by their own expectations. Understand this. Your need for control is your greatest weakness. It blinds you to opportunities. It makes you rigid when you need to be fluid. It wastes your energy on the impossible, while leaving you vulnerable to what's actually important. The Master Warrior knows what can be controlled and what cannot. They know that they can control their preparation, but not the outcome. Their effort, but not the result. Their response, but not the circumstance. Their attitude, but not the situation. This is not about becoming passive or accepting defeat. This is about becoming strategically powerful. When you stop wasting energy trying to control the uncontrollable, you can focus all your power on what actually matters. Think of a river. It doesn't fight the rocks in its path. It flows around them. It doesn't rage against the mountain. It carves through it over time. It doesn't resist its journey. It simply flows, adapting to whatever terrain it encounters. This is your model for dealing with life's challenges. Most of you do the opposite. You rage against reality. You exhaust yourself fighting what is. You break yourself against immovable obstacles simply because you believe they shouldn't be there. This is not strength. This is ego masquerading as power. Here's what you can control: your preparation, your practice, your principles, your responses, your focus, your effort. Here's what you cannot control: other people's actions, time's passage, life's uncertainties, nature's forces, the past, most outcomes. The amateur tries to control everything and masters nothing. The warrior focuses their control on what can actually be controlled and becomes unstoppable within that domain. This requires a profound shift in how you approach challenges. Instead of asking, "How can I control this situation?" ask, "What aspect of this can I actually influence?" Instead of demanding that reality conform to your expectations, learn to adapt your approach to reality. This is not surrender. It is strategic focus. Like a master swordsman who doesn't waste energy fighting the wind, but instead learns to cut with it or against it equally well. The circumstance becomes irrelevant because the mastery transcends it. When you release what you cannot control, you don't become weaker. You become more powerful. Your mind clears of impossible battles. Your energy focuses on achievable victories. Your spirit strengthens through acceptance of what is rather than constant war with what isn't. Practice this release daily. When traffic delays you, release your need to control time. When others disappoint you, release your need to control their actions. When circumstances challenge you, release your need for things to be easy. With each release, feel your true power growing, not the false power of trying to control everything, but the real power of mastering yourself, not the draining energy of fighting reality, but the flowing energy of working with it. Remember, the warrior's strength lies not in controlling the world, but in controlling their response to it. Not in making everything go their way, but in finding their way through everything. Not in making life easy, but in making themselves strong enough for any challenge. Let go of what you cannot control. Master what you can. In this balance lies the path to true power. There is a reason why I never announced my intentions before battle, why I never revealed my strategies to those who watched, why I kept my techniques hidden until the moment of execution. Power moves in silence. True strength requires no announcement. Most of you do the opposite. You broadcast your every move, reveal your every plan, announce your every intention. You seek attention before achievement, recognition before mastery, praise before performance. This is not the way of the warrior. This is the way of the amateur. Like smoke that moves invisibly until it's already surrounded you, true power operates beyond observation. It works in silence, builds in secret, strikes without warning. Not through deception, but through strategic wisdom. Not through trickery, but through tactical mastery. I've watched warriors defeat themselves through nothing more than their own declarations. They announced their training, and their ego made them train for show rather than substance. They declared their goals, and public pressure made them choose safe paths rather than necessary ones. They revealed their strategies and their opponents prepared perfect counters. Understand this. Every time you announce your intentions, you create resistance to their achievement. Every time you broadcast your plans, you give power to those who would oppose them. Every time you seek attention for what you will do, you reduce the power of what you actually do. The true master moves like smoke, visible only through their actions, known only through their results. They don't seek permission to become powerful. They don't ask for attention to their process. They don't need validation for their path. This isn't about becoming secretive or deceptive. It's about understanding that power concentrated is power multiplied. Like a pressure vessel that builds force through containment, your power grows through strategic silence. Most of you leak power through constant announcement, through social media updates, through endless discussions of your plans, through premature celebrations of unfulfilled intentions. Each declaration is a small release of the pressure that could have driven you forward. Learn to keep your moves hidden, not through active deception, but through quiet focus. Let your training be private, your preparation personal, your development silent. Let your results speak louder than your intentions. Let your achievements overshadow your announcements. This principle extends beyond physical training. Your thoughts, your plans, your strategies, keep them close, not out of fear, but out of wisdom, not out of insecurity, but out of strategic strength. Like smoke that remains invisible until it's already achieved its purpose, the world is full of loud beginners, announcing every small step, celebrating every minor victory, seeking attention for every little effort. But you're learning a higher way. The way of silent power, of quiet strength, of hidden mastery. Think of all the forces that shape the world: gravity, time, growth. None announce themselves, none seek attention, none require recognition. They simply work relentlessly, powerfully, transformatively. This is your model. Remember, the more you say, the less power your words carry. The more you announce, the less impact your actions have. The more you seek attention, the less respect your achievements command. Move like smoke. Build in silence. Strike without warning. Let your power be felt before it's seen. Let your strength be known through its effects, not its announcements. Let your mastery speak through results, not declarations. For true power needs no announcement. Real strength requires no attention. Genuine mastery speaks for itself. Now we face the enemy that defeats most warriors before they even begin: fear. Not external threats, not worthy opponents, but the shadow that lives in your own mind. It's time you understood something that took me years of battle to learn. Fear is not your enemy. Running from it is. Most of you misunderstand fear. You think a warrior feels no fear. You think mastery means fearlessness. You think strength means never being afraid. This is not wisdom. This is delusion. The greatest warriors I've known felt fear deeply. They just learned to make it serve them rather than control them. Fear is like a blade. In the hands of an amateur, it's dangerous to its wielder. In the hands of a master, it becomes a tool of unprecedented power. Your task is not to eliminate fear, it's to master its use, not to escape it, but to harness it, not to deny it, but to transform it. I've watched countless warriors try to deny their fear, to suppress it, to pretend it doesn't exist. They think this makes them strong. Instead, it makes them vulnerable. Because denied fear doesn't disappear, it grows stronger in the shadows of your mind, waiting to emerge at the worst possible moment. Here's what you must understand. Fear is information, not instruction. When fear rises, it's telling you something important about yourself, about the situation, about what matters to you. Listen to this information, extract its wisdom, but do not let it make your decisions. The amateur feels fear and retreats. The master feels fear and advances with awareness. The amateur tries to eliminate fear before acting. The master acts while feeling afraid, knowing that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the triumph over it. Begin by facing your fears directly. Name them. Examine them. Understand their roots. Is it fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of pain, fear of the unknown? Each fear you identify becomes a blade you can learn to wield. Most of you live in constant retreat from your fears. You choose comfortable paths to avoid feeling afraid. You select easy challenges to avoid confronting fear. You keep your lives small to keep your fears manageable. This is not safety. This is self-imposed imprisonment. True power comes not from avoiding what frightens you, but from advancing through your fears with full awareness. Each step forward while afraid builds more strength than 100 steps in comfort. Each victory over fear creates more power than 1,000 victories over easy challenges. Think of fear as a fire. You can let it consume you, or you can use it to forge yourself into something stronger. Every time you feel afraid and advance anyway, you're hammering your spirit into a stronger form. Every time you face fear and act despite it, you're tempering your will into something unbreakable. This is why I sought out challenging opponents, why I practiced in darkness, why I chose difficult paths. Not because I felt no fear, but because I knew fear faced becomes fuel. Fear confronted becomes power. Fear mastered becomes strength. Start small, but start now. When fear whispers, wait, advance. When fear says retreat, stand firm. When fear screams impossible, take one more step forward. Each time you move through fear rather than away from it, you reclaim power that fear has been stealing from you. Remember, fear will always be part of your journey. It's not a sign of weakness. It's an opportunity for strength. It's not a wall to stop you. It's a door to transform you. It's not your enemy. It's your teacher, showing you exactly where you need to grow stronger. Make peace with fear, not by surrendering to it, but by learning to move with it. Not by letting it control you, but by using it to fuel you. Not by trying to eliminate it, but by transforming it into power. For when you learn to advance while afraid, to act while uncertain, to fight while fearful, you become truly unstoppable. Because then, fear becomes not your master, but your servant. Not your obstacle, but your ally. Not your weakness, but your hidden strength. Now we come to the foundation of all power, the source of all mastery, the root of all achievement, discipline. Not the shallow discipline of forcing yourself to follow rules, but the deep discipline of forging yourself into something unstoppable. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's about punishment, restriction, denial. They see it as something that diminishes life rather than expands it. This is why they fail. True discipline isn't a cage that constrains you. It's a forge that transforms you. I've spent decades observing the difference between those who achieve mastery and those who merely dream of it. The difference is not talent, it's not opportunity, it's not luck, it's discipline, the daily, unwavering commitment to becoming stronger, regardless of circumstances. Understand this: discipline is not something you do. It's something you become. It's not a set of actions. It's a way of being. It's not a temporary state. It's a permanent transformation. The truly disciplined warrior doesn't follow discipline. They embody it. Your daily routines are not just habits. They're rituals of power. Every morning you rise early. You're not just starting your day. You're declaring war on weakness. Every training session you complete, you're not just exercising. You're forging strength. Every challenge you face, you're not just solving problems. You're building power. But most of you approach discipline backwards. You try to force yourself to be disciplined through willpower alone. This is like trying to heat an entire ocean with a single flame. True discipline doesn't come from forcing. It comes from understanding, from knowing, bone deep, that discipline is the only path to power. Start with your mind. Discipline your thoughts before you discipline your actions. Learn to command your focus, control your reactions, direct your energy. Mental discipline is the foundation. Without it, physical discipline becomes mere mechanical repetition. Your routines must become sacred, not through rigid adherence to rules, but through deep understanding of their purpose. Each disciplined action is a brick in the fortress of your strength. Each consistent practice is a weapon in your arsenal of power. Most people's discipline crumbles because they see it as a burden. They do what they must, but resent it. They follow their routines, but resist them. This divided energy weakens them. True discipline comes from alignment, when what you must do becomes what you hunger to do. Build your discipline like you would build a temple, stone by stone, day by day, with reverence and purpose. Your morning routine, your training schedule, your daily practices, these are not just tasks to complete. They are ceremonies of transformation, rituals of power. The world will test your discipline. It will offer you comfort instead of growth, pleasure instead of power, ease instead of strength. These are not rewards. They are traps. The disciplined warrior knows that comfort is the enemy of greatness, that ease is the opponent of achievement. Remember, discipline is not about perfection. It's about persistence. Not about never failing, but about always rising. Not about being flawless, but about being relentless. When you fall short of your standards, discipline is what brings you back. When you fail in your commitments, discipline is what restores you. Your discipline must become non-negotiable. Not through rigid force, but through unshakable commitment. Like the sun that rises regardless of weather, like the tide that flows regardless of obstacles, your discipline must become a force of nature. For when discipline becomes your nature, rather than your choice, when it flows from your core rather than from your will, when it emerges from your being rather than from your doing, then you become truly unstoppable. Because then, discipline is not what you do. It's who you are. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you contradicts everything this soft world has taught you about strength. Comfort is not your friend. Ease is not your ally. The path to power isn't found in avoiding hardship, it's found in choosing it. Most of you spend your lives running from discomfort. You seek the easy path, the comfortable choice, the painless option. And in doing so, you rob yourself of the very experiences that would make you strong. You think you're protecting yourself, but you're actually weakening yourself. I learned this truth through countless battles and years of solitary training. Voluntary hardship builds strength that comfort never can. When you choose your suffering, when you select your challenges, when you embrace difficulty by choice, you transform struggle from your enemy into your servant. The warrior who trains only when conditions are perfect becomes weak. The fighter who practices only when they feel good becomes vulnerable. The student who studies only when it's easy becomes ignorant. But the master who embraces hardship, who seeks out challenge, who chooses difficulty, this is the one who becomes unstoppable. Understand this. There are two types of suffering in this world. There's the suffering that happens to you, and there's the suffering you choose. The first type breaks people. The second type builds them. Your task is to increase the second to prepare for the first. Most of you do the opposite. You avoid voluntary hardship at all costs. You skip training when you're tired. You abandon practice when it's difficult. You retreat from challenges when they become uncomfortable. And in doing so, you make yourself vulnerable to the suffering you cannot choose. Begin your transformation now. Choose the harder path. Select the more difficult training. Embrace the challenging practice, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you understand its value. Not because you love hardship, but because you know it builds strength. Train when you're tired. Practice when you don't feel like it. Work when others rest, not out of masochism, but out of strategy. Each voluntary hardship you embrace builds resilience you cannot gain any other way. Each chosen challenge creates strength that comfort cannot forge. Think of it like tempering a blade. The steel must be heated, hammered, cooled, and reheated. This process is harsh, but necessary. Without it, the blade remains weak, unsuited for its purpose. Your spirit is the same. It must be tested, challenged, pushed beyond its limits to become strong. But most of you misunderstand this process. You think suffering itself makes you stronger. It doesn't. It's the choice that builds strength. When you choose the hardship, when you select the challenge, when you embrace the difficulty, that's what transforms you. This is why I trained in the mountains, why I practiced in the rain, why I sought out the strongest opponents. Not because I enjoyed suffering, but because I understood its value. Each chosen hardship was an investment in future strength. Each voluntary challenge was a deposit in the bank of power. Start small, but start now. Choose the harder workout. Select the more challenging practice. Embrace the difficult task. When your mind says, enough, do more. When your body says, stop, continue. When your spirit says, rest, advance. Remember, comfort is a prison built of soft walls and pleasant chains. It traps you not through pain, but through pleasure. Not through hardship, but through ease. Breaking free requires not just enduring hardship, but actively choosing it. This is not about punishment. This is about preparation. This is not about pain. This is about power. This is not about suffering for suffering's sake. This is about deliberately forging yourself into something stronger through chosen challenges. For when you learn to suffer by choice, when you embrace hardship as a teacher, when you select your challenges rather than avoid them, you become truly unstoppable. Because then no hardship can break you. No challenge can defeat you. No difficulty can deter you. You become the master of your suffering rather than its slave. The architect of your challenges rather than their victim. The creator of your strength rather than a prisoner of your comfort. The sun does not ask permission to rise. It does not wait for perfect conditions. It does not hesitate or delay. Each dawn it attacks the darkness with absolute certainty, with unwavering purpose. This must become your model. Each day must be seized, attacked, conquered. Most people don't attack their days. They endure them. They don't conquer their mornings. They survive them. They don't command their hours. They submit to them. This is not the way of the warrior. This is the way of the defeated. I've watched countless warriors fail not through lack of skill, but through lack of relentless purpose. They trained when they felt like it. They practiced when it was convenient. They advanced when conditions were perfect. They became victims of time rather than its masters. Understand this. Each day is a battle that must be won. Each morning is territory that must be conquered. Each hour is an opponent that must be defeated. The warrior who waits for motivation will never find it. The warrior who waits for perfect conditions will never move. Your attack must begin the moment you open your eyes. No gradual warming up, no slow entry into the day, no peaceful transition to wakefulness. Attack. Rise with purpose. Move with power. Start with intensity. The first hour of your day determines the quality of all that follows. But most of you do the opposite. You ease into your days. You check your phone. You delay your purpose. You waste your peak hours in pointless activities. You surrender the most powerful time of your day to weakness, to distraction, to comfort. Your mornings must become sacred ground. Territory that weakness cannot enter. Time that distraction cannot steal. Hours that lesser purposes cannot claim. This is not about morning routines. It's about morning conquests. Not about daily habits, but about daily victories. Think of each day as a battle, each hour as a skirmish, each task as an opponent. Not with hatred or aggression, but with focused intensity, with unstoppable purpose, with unwavering commitment to victory. The world will try to steal your day from you. It will offer distractions, present urgencies, suggest delays. These are not mere interruptions. They are enemies of your purpose. They must be defeated swiftly, decisively, completely. Your attack must be sustained, not just in the morning, but throughout the day. Not just on good days, but every day. Not just when you feel strong, but especially when you feel weak. Consistency is not a choice. It's a weapon. This is why I trained at dawn, why I practiced through exhaustion, why I maintained absolute discipline in my daily practices. Not from habit, but from understanding. Each day attacked becomes a victory claimed. Each morning conquered becomes strength earned. Start now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when conditions improve. Now. Attack this day. Seize this hour. Claim this moment. When your mind says later, attack now. When your body says wait, advance now. When weakness says tomorrow, conquer now. Remember, time is not neutral. It either works for you or against you. Each moment not seized is a moment lost. Each hour not attacked is an hour surrendered. Each day not conquered is a day defeated. Your days must become legendary, not through grand gestures or rare achievements, but through relentless daily conquest, through unwavering hourly attack, through consistent momentary victory. For when you learn to attack each day, to conquer each morning, to seize each moment, you become truly unstoppable. Because then time becomes not your master, but your ally. Not your opponent, but your weapon. Not your enemy, but your conquest. Here's a truth that most warriors never grasp, yet it holds the key to unshakable power. Your attachment to outcomes is your greatest weakness. Your obsession with results is what prevents you from achieving them. Your need for specific victories is what makes you vulnerable to defeat. I've watched fighters with superior skill fall to lesser opponents for one reason. They were too attached to winning. Their desperation for victory made them tense, made them hesitate, made them fight with divided energy. While their bodies fought their opponents, their minds fought their fears of losing. Understand this deeply. The outcome is not in your control. Never has been. Never will be. What's in your control is your preparation, your practice, your moment-to-moment execution, your absolute presence in the action. Everything else is beyond your reach. Most of you do everything backward. You focus on the outcome and let it corrupt your process. You think about the result and let it poison your practice. You obsess about the destination and miss the path entirely. This attachment doesn't make you more likely to succeed. It makes you more likely to fail. The master warrior learns to act with full commitment while being completely detached from the result. Like an archer who releases the arrow perfectly, caring nothing about where it lands. Like a swordsman who cuts with perfect form, unconcerned with whether the cut will land. This isn't about not caring, it's about understanding what you can actually control. You can control your preparation, you can control your practice, you can control your presence, you can control your effort. The outcome? That belongs to the universe. But most of you are trapped in outcome addiction. You need to know you'll succeed before you start. You need to be certain of victory before you fight. You need to see the end before you begin. This is not strength. This is weakness masquerading as prudence. True power comes from perfect action without attachment, full commitment without neediness, complete dedication without dependency on specific results. When you learn to act this way, you become truly unstoppable, because then no outcome can defeat you. Think of water flowing downstream. It doesn't worry about reaching the ocean. It doesn't stress about taking the perfect path. It simply flows with full commitment in each moment, letting the outcome take care of itself. This must become your model. Your attachment to outcomes creates tension. Tension creates weakness. Weakness creates failure. But when you learn to act without attachment, you find a new kind of power, the power of pure action, the strength of undivided energy, the force of complete presence. This is why I trained without thinking of winning, why I practiced without concern for mastery, why I fought without need for victory. Not because these outcomes didn't matter, but because focusing on them would have corrupted the purity of my action. Start practicing this detachment now. Train with full commitment, but zero attachment to results. Work with complete dedication, but no need for specific outcomes. Fight with absolute presence, but no desperation for victory. Remember, the need for a particular outcome is a chain that binds you. The desperation for specific results is a weight that drowns you. The attachment to certain victories is a cage that traps you. Your power lies not in controlling outcomes, but in controlling your actions. Not in managing results, but in managing yourself. Not in securing victories, but in maintaining presence. For when you learn to act without attachment, to fight without desperation, to live without neediness for specific outcomes, you become truly unstoppable, because then no result can break you, no outcome can shake you, no victory or defeat can define you. You become like the mountain, unmoved by the winds of success or failure, like the ocean, undisturbed by the waves of victory or defeat, like the sky, unchanged by the weather of achievement or setback. Now we come to the most crucial battle you'll ever fight, the war against your own excuses. Your mind is a master craftsman of justifications, a skilled architect of limitations, an expert builder of barriers. It's time to tear them all down. I've seen warriors with limitless potential remain mediocre for one reason. They became masters of excuses rather than masters of action. They developed more skill in explaining why they couldn't than in finding ways they could. They became more practiced in justification than in achievement. Understand this. Every excuse you accept becomes a boundary of your power. Every justification you embrace becomes a limit of your potential. Every reason you give for not advancing becomes a wall in your prison of mediocrity. Most of you have built fortresses of excuses so strong that no amount of external motivation can breach them. I'm too tired. I'm not ready. The timing isn't right. I need more preparation. I'll start tomorrow. These aren't just thoughts. They're the bars of your self-made cage. The warrior's path demands ruthless honesty, not just with others, but primarily with yourself. Every excuse must be exposed for what it truly is, a surrender to weakness, a submission to fear, a victory for mediocrity. Your mind will present these excuses as wisdom, as prudence, as rational thinking. This is the deadliest deception, the way your own intelligence becomes a weapon against your potential. Every excuse sounds reasonable. Every justification appears logical. Every delay seems justified. But here's the truth. Your excuses hide. You're stronger than you think, more capable than you believe, more powerful than you imagine. Your excuses aren't protecting you from failure. They're preventing you from discovering your true capacity. Most of you have become so skilled at making excuses that you don't even recognize them anymore. They've become your natural response to challenge, your automatic reaction to opportunity, your instinctive defense against growth. Start your liberation now. When you hear yourself say, "I can't," add "yet." When you think, "I'm not ready," ask, "Ready by whose standards?" When you say, "It's too hard," admit, "I'm choosing to be weak." Strip every excuse naked. Force every justification to prove itself. Your excuses have one purpose: to keep you comfortable, to keep you safe, to keep you small. They succeed in this purpose perfectly. But comfort is the enemy of greatness. Safety is the opponent of growth. Smallness is the adversary of power. This is why I trained in rain, in cold, in darkness. Why I practiced when tired, when injured, when others rested. Not because these conditions were ideal, but because they destroyed every excuse my mind could create. They proved that circumstances need not limit action. Begin this practice immediately. Each time an excuse arises, destroy it with action. Each time a justification appears, obliterate it with movement. Each time your mind presents a reason why not, answer with a demonstration of why yes. Remember, every excuse you destroy is a chain broken. Every justification you overcome is a wall torn down. Every reason why not you defeat is a door opened to your true potential. Your excuses are not your friends. They are not protecting you. They are imprisoning you. They are not serving you. They are limiting you. They are not helping you. They are destroying your potential one justification at a time. For when you learn to live without excuses, to act without justification, to advance without explanation, you become truly unstoppable. because then there are no more barriers between you and your potential, no more walls between you and your power, no more chains between you and your greatness. In the midst of chaos, while others panic, while the world spins into frenzy, there lies your greatest opportunity for power, becoming the eye of the storm. This calm isn't a gift. It isn't natural. It isn't luck. It's a skill forged through understanding and tempered through practice. I've watched battles won not by the strongest fighter, but by the calmest, not by the most skilled warrior, but by the most centered, not by the one with the best technique, but by the one with the most unshakable presence. When everyone else loses their mind, the one who keeps theirs becomes unstoppable. Understand this: chaos is not your enemy. It's your opportunity. When others panic, they become weak. When others rush, they make mistakes. When others lose their center, they become vulnerable. This is when the warrior who maintains calm becomes invincible. Most of you do the opposite. You mirror the chaos around you. You absorb the panic of others. You become infected by the frenzy of your environment. In doing so, you surrender your power precisely when you could claim the most of it. True calm isn't passive. It's not the absence of energy. It's the perfect control of energy, like a hurricane's eye, still while surrounded by fury, like a master swordsman's mind, quiet in the midst of combat, like a great leader's presence, steady in the face of crisis. But most of you misunderstand calm. You think it means being relaxed, being peaceful, being serene. No. Strategic calm is intense, powerful, dynamic. It's not the calm of a pond's surface, it's the calm of the ocean's depths, where enormous pressure creates absolute stability. Your calm must be trained, it must be forged in difficulty, tested in chaos, proven in crisis. You cannot wait for the storm to learn stillness, you cannot wait for the battle to learn presence. You cannot wait for the crisis to learn calm. Think of a great tree in a storm. Its leaves and branches may whip in the wind, but its trunk remains unmoved. Its roots stay anchored. Its core stands unshaken. This must become your model. Let the surface be stirred while the depths remain still. The world will test your calm. It will throw chaos at you. It will surround you with panic. It will try to infect you with its frenzy. These are not obstacles to your calm. They are opportunities. To demonstrate it, your calm becomes your power. When others rush, your stillness gives you clarity. When others panic, your presence gives you control. When others react, your calm gives you choice. This is not just a tactical advantage, it's strategic dominance. This is why I sought out chaos. In training, why I practiced in confusion, why I deliberately surrounded myself with disorder. Not to become comfortable with chaos, but to become powerful within it. Not to avoid disorder, but to master it. Start training your calm now. When circumstances urge panic, practice presence. When situations demand rush, enforce stillness. When the world screams for reaction, maintain responsibility. Your calm is a muscle that grows stronger with every storm it endures. Remember, the storm is not your enemy, it's your teacher. Chaos is not your opponent, it's your opportunity. Disorder is not your destruction, it's your chance to demonstrate. Mastery, your power lies not in avoiding storms, but in becoming their center, not in escaping chaos, but in mastering it, not in finding peace, but in becoming peace. When the world loses its mind, your calm becomes your crown. For when you learn to be the calm in the storm, to be the stillness in the chaos, to be the presence in the panic, you become truly unstoppable. Because then no situation can disturb you. No circumstance can defeat you. No storm can shake you. You become the eye of every hurricane, the center of every storm, the stillness in every chaos. Not through luck or nature, but through understanding and practice. Not through avoidance, but through mastery. We arrive now at the final and most crucial truth. No teacher, no mentor, no master can give you what you must seize for yourself. The ultimate battle isn't fought against external opponents, It's the conquest of your own potential. It's time to claim your mastery. Throughout your life, you've looked outside yourself for validation, for direction, for permission to be powerful. You've sought masters to guide you, teachers to instruct you, leaders to follow. This is the beginning of the path, but it cannot be the end. True power comes only when you become your own master. I've watched countless warriors remain eternal students, forever seeking the next teacher, the next system, the next secret technique. They never realized that the greatest master they could ever have is waiting in their own spirit, their own mind, their own will. Understand this. Every external master can only point the way. They can show you the path, demonstrate the techniques, share the wisdom, but they cannot walk the path for you. They cannot embody the techniques for you. They cannot live the wisdom for you. This you must do yourself. Most of you remain perpetual followers, eternal seekers, permanent students. You think this is humility. You believe this is wisdom. You imagine this is the path. But it's not. It's a subtle form of surrender, a sophisticated way of avoiding your own power. True mastery isn't found in perfect technique, flawless form, or encyclopedic knowledge. These are just tools. Real mastery is found in perfect ownership of your path, complete command of your power, absolute authority over your development. Your journey must take you beyond learning to creating, beyond following to leading, beyond seeking to becoming. This isn't about arrogance, it's about authorship, not about rejecting teachers, but about becoming your own greatest teacher. Think of a sword being forged. At some point it must leave the blacksmith's hammer and enter the warrior's hand. At some point it must stop being shaped and start doing the shaping. Your power is the same. There comes a time when you must stop being forged and start doing the forging. The world will resist this transition. It will try to keep you a student forever. It will attempt to make you dependent on instruction, reliant on validation, addicted to guidance. This isn't protection, it's limitation. It's not support, it's containment. Your power can only fully emerge when you claim complete ownership of your path, when you stop asking for permission to be powerful, when you cease seeking approval to be great, when you end your dependence on external validation for your internal vision. This is why I developed my own style, wrote my own principles, forged my own path. Not out of disrespect for teachers, but out of respect for mastery, not from arrogance, about what I knew, but from understanding about what I must become. Begin this transition now. Start trusting your own wisdom. Begin creating your own practices. Commence authoring your own path. When you need guidance, look first within. When you seek wisdom, consult first your experience. When you require strength, draw first from your own spirit. Remember, every master was once a beginner who decided to become more. Every teacher was once a student who chose to transcend. Every leader was once a follower who dared to step forward. Your greatest teacher lives in your own experience. Your truest guide resides in your own wisdom. Your deepest master dwells in your own spirit. It's time to claim this power. Time to own this authority, time to embody this mastery. For when you learn to be your own master, to trust your own wisdom, to author your own path, you become truly unstoppable. Because then, no external authority can limit you. No outside power can control you. No other master can define you. You become the master of your destiny, the author of your path, the ruler of your power. Not through rebellion, but through maturity. Not through rejection, but through integration. Not through separation, but through transcendence.